She never thought her life would turn upside down in the ordinary emergency department of St. Luke's Hospital in Portland, Oregon, where every day smelled of antiseptic, vending machine coffee, and someone else's pain. Emma was 28. She'd been an ER nurse for 6 years, hardened to night shifts, to screams, to holding the hand of a dying teenager while lying that everything would be okay. Her dark hair was always pulled into a tight low bun, otherwise it fell into her eyes when she sprinted down the hallway with a defibrillator. Emma rarely smiled at patients. A smile felt like a luxury she couldn't hand out freely here. Liv had arrived in Portland from a small town in Idaho 3 months earlier. She was 26, with green eyes like sea glass and a habit of biting her lower lip when she was nervous. She transferred to St. Luke's after her girlfriend, also a nurse, left her for an orthopedic surgeon, and kicked Liv out of their shared apartment. Liv wore her hair loose even on shift, and the senior nurses grumbled, but she just shrugged. If I save even one life, they'll forgive the hairstyle. They first collided in the nurses' station at 3 in the morning. Emma burst in to grab fresh gloves and crashed straight into Liv, who was wrestling the last drops of decent coffee from the machine. Of course, the coffee splashed across Emma's white scrub top. Oh God, I'm so sorry. Liv grabbed paper towels and started dabbing at the stain on Emma's chest, oblivious to how close she'd gotten. Emma froze. The scent. Liv smelled like vanilla and something sterile yet warm. She suddenly realized she'd been staring into those green eyes for a full second and couldn't look away. It's fine, she said, voice rough. I'm usually covered in blood anyway. Liv laughed awkwardly, stepped back, and offered her hand. Olivia. But everyone calls me Liv.
Emma.
Just Emma. That was how it began. They started running into each other more often. At first by chance. In the elevator, in the cafeteria, in the break room where Liv always left a pack of cookies for everyone and Emma pretended not to take any, but did. Then it stopped being chance. Liv began swapping shifts to work with Emma. Emma started lingering after clocking out, even though she used to bolt the second her card was scanned. They talked. First about work. The guy who walked in with a knife in his back and still cracked jokes. The doctor who yelled at nurses but fainted at blood. How hard it was to see kids in the ICU. Then about everything else. Liv told her how at 18 she'd run away from home after her mom found texts with a girl and said she'd rather live were dead. Emma, for the first time in years, told someone how at 22 her fiancé left 2 weeks before the wedding, packed her bags and moved to California with some photographer. Since then, Emma hadn't let anyone close. You're like a hedgehog, Liv said one night when they were sitting on the hospital roof during a break, sharing one cup of coffee, watching fog rise over Portland. All spines on the outside, but probably soft underneath. You don't know what I'm like underneath, Emma replied and looked away. I want to, Liv whispered. Emma didn't answer. She just stood up and went back downstairs as if someone had called her. But her hands shook the rest of the shift every time she started in 4. The tension grew. They could stand side by side at a patient's bedside and not speak for an entire 12 hours, yet the air between them crackled. Liv watched Emma when she leaned over a patient and noticed how precise her fingers were. Emma caught herself breathing in the scent of Liv's hair whenever she passed by. Then came that day. A 12-hour shift from hell. 2 major car wrecks back to back, a child with severe burns, a woman in cardiac arrest. By 6 p.m., they were both gray with exhaustion. Liv was sitting in the supply closet, forehead pressed to the cool wall, crying silently, tears just rolling down her cheeks. The little girl they'd coded for half an hour didn't make it. Emma walked in for clean sheets and saw her. Don't cry, she said, not even sure what she was doing. I can't not cry, Liv whispered. I keep thinking I'll get used to it, but I never do. Emma stepped closer. Then closer still. Then she wrapped her arms around her. Just held her tight, as if terrified Liv would fall apart if she let go. Liv buried her face in Emma's shoulder. Her stethoscope pressed cold against Emma's chest through the thin fabric. They stood like that for a long time. Then Liv pulled back slightly and looked up. Tears still clung to her lashes. Emma looked at her and knew that in this moment she would either kiss her or walk away forever. She kissed her, very gently at first, like she was asking permission. Liv's lips tasted salty from tears. Then Liv kissed back, hard, desperate, fingers clutching the collar of Emma's scrub top, pulling her closer. They kissed like it was the only way to exhale the horror of the day, all the pain, all the exhaustion. Their stethoscopes clinked together like tiny bells. When they finally broke apart, both of them were shaking.
"I'm scared," Emma whispered.
"Me too," Liv answered. "But I'm more scared of not trying." After that, they were never apart. They still worked at the same hospital, still ran through the corridors, still held the hands of the dying and celebrated when someone pulled through. But now they had a place to go after shift. Liv's small apartment overlooking the Willamette River, where they drank tea on the windowsill and kissed while the endless Portland rain fell outside. Emma learned how to smile again. Liv learned to put her hair in a bun when she was on shift with Emma, "So I don't distract you," she'd say and laugh. Liv had a habit of slipping little notes into the pockets of Emma's scrubs, scraps of paper that read, "You're stronger than you know," or "I'm proud of you even when you're mad at the whole world." Emma would find them mid-crisis, running to a trauma bay, and for one heartbeat, she'd stop in the middle of the hallway, hand pressed to her chest, feeling the paper like a secret heartbeat against her skin. Some nights they came home so bone-tired they collapsed fully clothed on the couch, stethoscopes still around their necks, boots kicked off by the door. Liv would fall asleep first, curled against Emma's side, and Emma would stay awake a little longer just to listen to her breathing, to make sure it was steady, to remind herself that at least one person in the world was safe tonight. On their days off they drove out to the coast, windows down, singing off-key to whatever was on the radio. They walked barefoot on the cold sand at Cannon Beach, holding hands where anyone could see, daring the gray Pacific sky to judge them. Liv collected pieces of sea glass in her pocket and later strung them into a tiny mobile that hung above their bed, catching the rare Portland sunlight and scattering green flecks across the sheets like fragments of her eyes. Sometimes patients asked if they were sisters. They'd exchange a quick, private smile and say, something like that. Sometimes the losses still crushed them. There were nights when one of them came home hollow-eyed and couldn't speak. Then the other would simply draw a bath, light the cheap vanilla candle Liv loved, and sit on the bathroom floor while the steam rose, holding the silent one until the shaking stopped. They saved lives every day. And every day, quietly, without fanfare, they saved each other. "We'll keep doing this," Liv whispered one dawn, both of them leaning against the nurse's station counter after pulling a teenager back from the edge. "We'll keep running into burning rooms and broken hearts, together." Emma brushed a loose strand of hair behind Liv's ear, fingers lingering. "Together," she echoed, and the word felt like the strongest promise either of them had ever made. And in the fluorescent hum of St. Luke's corridors, between the beeping monitors and the endless rain outside, two women in white scrubs with stethoscopes tangled like vines kept choosing each other, again and again, as naturally as breathing.